and the frontal, the blackish yellowish lines, this is basically the nerve fibers. So here we can see that the particular retina is coming in back side of these nerve fibers, and there is a central blind spot present here. While if you see this particular organism's eye, okay, the octopus eye, here we can see that the retina is present in the front and the nerve fibers are present in the back, and here we can see there is no blind spot that can be seen here. And this is the optic nerve which is getting all the transmissions from the brain. Okay, so these are the structures. They are very much similar, but still there are a lot of differences between them. So, what does this signify? These two types of eye are the product of convergent evolution. So, they are analogous structures. So, they actually have similar function, but their structures are different. So, that is why we can say they are analogous structures. They both are doing the same function, but their structures are different. Now, speciation by splitting of pre-existing species. So, what is splitting exactly? Just as we drew the cladistic or the clade yesterday. So if this is a common ancestor, and from these two particular you can say a new species are evolved. So splitting of the characteristics from this particular ancestor into formation of these two species, this process is called as splitting. So different species are formed from a single ancestor, that is called as splitting. Now what causes the splitting to take place? Okay, just a second, students. All right, students. So, how does this splitting actually takes place? So, due to several pressures that are put on the particular organism due to adverse condition, this process of splitting takes place. So, there might be many other reasons. So, this is one of them. So, let's understand one thing. So, for example, this is an ecosystem where a lot of birds are living. Okay, we're talking about Darwin's finches, which were found in Galapagos Islands, and Darwin actually found these particular islands that were present. So these particular Galapagos Islands were visited by Darwin, and what he saw was there were several finches present on each and every island. There were different kind of finches present. So what he understood from that was, so in the particular time, so if this is a particular island, so the resources are limited here, the food is limited. So now a lot of birds population have increased on this particular island. So what will happen now? They all are eating similar kind of food, so there will be scarcity of food. So, and after a certain time period, what will happen? The food's requirement will be much more than the availability of the food. So what these finches actually started doing was that they had this option that either, suppose for example, this is the particular food that they all are eating, and this is the size of the food that is available, and but it is available in very low amounts. So one particular finch, it is able to eat this particular you can say food. Okay, but several other finches were also present. Now they were not getting the enough quantity of food. So what they thought was, they thought of changing their food. So what they were dependent on, so there were several other kind of foods that were available on this same island, which were present in abundance, but they were not eating earlier. So then they started changing their habits. So they started eating a little bit bigger size of food. So earlier their beak size was small, and eventually continuously eating this particular food, so they actually changed their habits. Okay, so they started eating larger size of food. So then their beak shape actually started changing, and this helped them to eat this particular size of food. Several other finches, they also thought of changing their food, so they started eating insects. Okay, so their beak also became such that it is able to grasp this particular you can say the insect easily, so they will eat the insect. So that is how a lot of finches evolved. A lot of finches varieties were developed on these Galapagos islands. So if you see several islands present, most of the islands will have different kind of finches present on them, depending on what kind of food is present on that particular island. So this is actually called as splitting. So from a single finch variety, several 40-50 kind of finches have developed due to change in their habits. Certain particular finches, if the food was sufficient but the space on which the food is available is very limited, so in that condition they started eating the food in the night time. So nocturnal finches also developed in that way. So that is how the splitting of a single species into a several different kind of species took place, and this actually led to the evolutionary process. So if two population of a species become separated, so they cannot interbreed, and natural selection then acts differently on the two populations. They will evolve in different ways. So there can be another way in which evolutionary process will take place. So first thing is this, in which the habits are changing. Now suppose for example this is a population living in particular ecosystem, and certain group of organisms from this population, if they migrate to a different area, and due to some reason a river started flowing in between these two areas. So earlier this was species A, and this was also species A earlier, but after a certain time period continuously interbreeding is taking place between this group, and interbreeding is taking place between this group itself. So they will start getting mutations, or the mutations that will accumulate in this particular group will be different from this group, and after many thousands of years it will be developed into a new species which is different from this particular one. So they both will be different species now. So interbreeding is very much necessary uh, if you say that interbreeding is stopped between the same species groups. So for example, if this is a particular area and this group of particular species, so the species is available everywhere, and this group also the same species is present. Now this group decided that they will interbreed within themselves, and they will not interbreed with these particular organisms of the same species. So in that condition, this particular group will also, after thousands of years continuously interbreeding within themselves, they will develop into a new variety, and this outer these other organisms that are present in the same area, but they are actually interbreeding with each other, all of them, and leaving this group alone. So in that condition they will probably develop into a new species. So that is how the interbreeding is really important if a single species has to be maintained. But if there is no interbreeding taking place between two group of same species, then slowly they both will evolve in different ways, and they will eventually develop into different species. After a time they will be recognizably different, because different mutations are accumulating in each group. If the population subsequently merged and had the chance of interbreeding, so they cannot be able to interbreed after a certain time, and this particular time when they are not able to interbreed, we will call them both separate species, and this is the process which is called as speciation. Okay, now let's come ahead. Role of reproductive isolation and differential selection in speciation. So reproductive isolation is because of certain hurdle that has come in between the two groups of same species, just as we discussed, that if the group splits into two because some geographical barriers. So for example, if this is a particular area, and due to several geological changes, of you can say a mountain range have developed in this area, in center of this area, so certain species are left on this side, and several other members of the same species, they are left on the other side. Now they both cannot interbreed with each other, so eventually after thousands of years this will develop into a new species, and this one will develop into a new species. So similar thing, whatever the reason is, it might be selective breeding, just as as we discussed over here, it is happening. Okay, so they are selectively actually interbreeding within themselves. This will lead to speciation, okay, formation of new species. And interbreeding is not taking place because of some geographical barrier, that will also lead to formation of new species. So all these are the processes that will actually lead to speciation, and they will be called as reproductively isolated particular groups of the same species. Okay, now geographical separation is most obvious if a rivers start flowing between certain area which was not present earlier, a mountain range has developed, and glaciers formation. Earlier there was water or a lake over there, and now glacier formation has took place, so that might also divide the populations into two groups. So if there is a gap in the range of species which divide into separate population, so eventually with time they will develop into new species. Okay, now how does this actually happen? Why interbreeding causes if continuous interbreeding is taking place between two groups, so there will be no new species formation? That is because, see, the very probable reason why here a new species is forming, because these particular group members, they are accumulating different kind of mutation in their genes, and they are accumulating different kind of genes in their particular group. Okay, now they both these mutations all together after thousands of years, they will have a very significant effect on the morphological features of this particular group, and similar differences will be seen in this group. Now if at any certain point of time, if one member of this particular group goes there and it transfer its genes to this group, now at this point of time, until this point of time, they are able to interbreed with each other. Certain significant changes have not occurred as of yet, so whatever mutations were accumulated in this particular gene pool, they have been transferred to this group. So then there is a probability that interbreeding will still be possible after thousands of years, because these particular genes, they have been transferred to this group. Okay, so then they all will have similar kind of mutations in them, so then there is a possibility that interbreeding can take place after a long time period also. But reproductive isolation, continuous isolation, where they are not at all interbreeding with each other for thousands of years, so after that particular time they will actually develop into a new species. And after that reproductive long isolation, even if you bring these two species all together and you try to interbreed them, they will not be able to interbreed. Okay, even if they interbreed, they will not be able to produce fertile offsprings. Fertile offsprings will not be produced. So in that condition, they will be called as different species. So that is a particular time when you can call them different species. Now these gaps could be due to physical barriers that are difficult to cross. For example, a mountain range, a river, or a stretch of ocean between two islands. Such barriers prevent interbreeding between populations, so the gene pools are separated. So due to separation of the gene pools, later on the mixing of genes cannot happen, and therefore blending of traits cannot happen. So for a species to remain as such, mixing of genes is necessary and blending of traits is necessary. Until mixing of genes and blending of traits is taking place, new species will not evolve. Okay, if reproductive isolation is done, where mixing of genes and blending of traits is not happening between two groups of the same population or of the same species, after a long time period, new species will evolve in both of the groups that actually had the common ancestor. Okay, now let's see, natural selection can cause the traits of population to change. However, if it operates in the same way in two population of a species, their traits will remain the same and they will not be separate species. Okay, so natural selection is a different whole new picture. Natural selection where only the best ones or the fittest ones are actually surviving. That is the theory of natural selection, survival of the fittest. So here the traits of the population can change, but reproductive isolation is not taking place between the species. So in this way they will actually become a separate species, but reproductive isolation is not done. So different two species will not form. From a common ancestor, a new species has actually evolved. Where there are significant differences in selection, So there might be differential or divergent selection. Differential selection causes the trait of the population to become more and more different. Okay, while the divergence is judged by taxonomists to be a significant, the population are classified as separate species. Now let's understand how there can be differential selection. Consider a new population of species that has been established by migration to an island. Any or all of these factors might be different for the species in that particular area. So climate, so earlier, so for example, if this species used to live in this particular area and particular group has migrated to a particular mountain area, so now here what are the aspects that might be different for this species. So earlier they were living in a plain area and now they have migrated to a mountain. So here the climate, the temperature might be different, the rainfall, amount of rains received in this area might be different. Predation, there might be different predators or even no predators in some areas. Competition might be different. So here there were a lot of species of the same group, in the same group, same population, a lot of individuals were there, so they had a competition for food. If this particular organism is moving to this particular area, so say 3 4 5 organisms have moved, the same species have moved to this area, so they will rapidly spread because there is abundance of food here. Okay, there are better condition, the temperature is better, and they might also have to you can say tolerate adverse condition in this area. There might be temperatures which are very very low for them. Okay, so such kind of adverse condition will actually bring in changes into the particular organism, and after some time they will get adapted to that area, and they will have a lot of gene pool changes, certain changes or mutation will continuously accumulate, natural selection process will take place, and a new variety of particular organism will be formed, a new species will be formed. So the lava lizard of Galapagos is an example of geographical isolation and speciation. So geographical isolation, we just understood, isolation of two species due to a particular geographical area. So here it is given the lava lizards. So you can see these are the different islands. Excuse me. So here these are the different islands that are present, and since these particular lizards, they cannot move from this island to the other island very easily, that is why reproductive isolation have taken place, and because of which new varieties of these particular lizards have developed on these different Galapagos islands. So here we can see these islands are actually very close to each other, but these are much more isolated. So the ones which are very much isolated, they will not have any chance of interbreeding in between, and proper reproductive isolation is taking place, because of which they are developed into different species. And here migration is still possible because these group of islands are close to each other. So in that condition, these particular islands might have migrations taken place, and gene pools are actually exchanged between each other. That is why similar species is developed on these islands. Here also Santa Maria and this Espanelo, here different species have migrated because they are far away from these other islands. So the ones which are actually farther away from this particular part, they are actually developed into a new species, and this particular group where the islands are close to each other and migration is possible, similar species has developed. Okay, so let's take this DBQ now. It's a flightless steamer ducks data here. So steamer ducks are members of this particular, okay, South Gile of Argentina, where they are found. So some of them are flightless and live in the coast of Kyle and Argentina. A third species can fly and occurs both on the coast and the inland. So what is the coast? Is the coastal area. Inland is the inner waters. So with its range overlapping those with the flightless species. The fourth species is a steamer duck that occurs on the Malvinos and Falklands Islands. So these are found in the islands in the eastern of Argentina. These species are flightless coastal populations, and also populations that can fly and only breed on inland lakes. So the maps shows the range of these four species. So here let's see this particular picture. So the this yellowish color is showing the particular steamer duck, which is Fuegian, which is flightless. So here we can see it in the coastal area, the outer areas, and there's a continuous occurrence of this particular species in this area, which shows this is flightless, but they can actually breed in this area because a lot of members of the same species are available over here for breeding. Now the next one is the steamer duck, which is Chubut. It is also a flightless steamer, which is in green color. So it is also found in this coastal area. Okay, and the third one is the Malvin's Falkland flightless steamer duck, which is in red color. So here, this is isolated and living in on an island. Okay, this is living on an island here. It is isolated from all the others. Next one is flying steamer duck, which is the purple color. So this is the only duck which is flying. Okay, it can fly. It is found in the coastal areas as well as it is also found on the inland area. Okay, so here we can see that the one which is actually able to fly, they have vast you can see presence over the area. That is because they can actually fly and reach to the inland also, so they can actually breed in the inland as well as on the coastal areas. So that is why their you can say their presence can be seen in a very wide range of area. That is due to their capability of flying. So here they are only present in particular area which is isolated from the others. Here that is because they are flightless. They cannot reach up to here and do the interbreeding or the crossbreeding here. So let's see what are the questions they are asking. Suggest how populations of steamer. Okay, this little bit more information. Analysis of mitochondrial DNA based sequences suggests that the species on Malvinas diverged from the three continental species between 2.2 and 0.6 million years. So the Malvinas diverged. So which one is the Malvinas? Okay, this one. So the red ones actually diverged from the other three species which took place a very long time period ago, that is 2.2 to 0.6 million years ago. And that the continental species diverged from the common ancestors about 15,000 years ago. So these both are the, basically you can see, say the continental ones, these three, okay. So during Great Pangatian glaciation, so glaciation is the process of glacier formation which took place a million years ago, where the water is converted into glaciers. So much of the southern Isle and Argentina was ice covered and sea level was 200 meters lower than it is currently. So earlier the water level was low, which is raised now. So that is why probably these particular have actually separated from each other and have developed into new species. During the last glacial maximum 15,000 years ago, the ice cover was not as extensive and the sea levels did not drop much. Sea levels did not drop, but glaciation stopped here, and probably a little bit of water is also present, because of which the purple colored the flying variety developed over here. Suggest how populations of steamer duck could have become reproductively isolated. Okay, so here steamer duck is which one? Let's see here, the steamer duck, which steamer duck? P. brachypterus, so the red one. Okay, to diverge from the continental species. So what might be the reason? So the only reason that we can understand is, see, before the glaciation took place, these actually got isolated. So around 2.2 million years ago they reached over here, and after that a process of glacier formation in between took place, and that is why it became isolated. So the major reason for this is basically migration. So at that time the sea levels were low and it could easily reach up to here, but after that the actually the ocean level came up, and because of which it cannot again migrate and reach over there. So that is why they have developed into a separate species. Next question is, discussed with reason whether there is currently interbreeding between Pnaros and Leucocephalus. So narrows is this, and leucocephalus. So yellow and green. So there can't be a reproduction process, or interbreeding is not possible between both these species, the yellow one and green one, because first of all they are flightless, and secondly they are isolated from each other. They cannot fly and reach to each other for interbreeding to take place. So definitely they cannot interbreed. Okay, so because their ranges are not overlapping and they are flightless and they cannot actually travel. Coming to the next question, suggest how Pete Nereis and Leucophilus, so again the same yellow and green ones, have evolved from a common ancestor 15,000 years ago. So how they have actually developed from a common ancestor? Because before the ice formation took place, so during the time of glaciation they actually separated from each other, and because they were flightless they could not reach to each other, and their gene pool were developed separately, and because of which they both actually evolved into different species. So differential selection here is the trait, because of the differential selection the traits have diverged and they actually developed into different species. So separate population they have developed into, and they cannot interbreed because of the glacier formation in between, and they could not migrate to each other. Discuss whether okay, T Patagonicus is the purple one, likely to crossbred with Paris and Leucocephalus. So definitely it is available everywhere. It is present on the coastal areas, it is present on the inland area. So definitely it can crossbreed with this one and this one as well. Okay, so they might interbreed, but because they are a different species and there will be a barrier present in between both of them, so there are certain chances that they might not also be able to interbreeding. Okay, so here the interbreeding might take place in the coastal areas, probably because they can reach on the coastal areas, but in the inland areas this interbreeding cannot take place, because the green and the yellow species they cannot migrate and reach in the inland area. But in the coastal area there is still a probability, because they have developed from the common ancestor, so there might be a little bit possibility that crossbreeding can take place. Okay, now predict whether T. brachypteris is likely to diverge into flightless and flying species. T. brachypteris is likely to diverge into, so the red one, whether likely to diverge into flightless and flying species. So it might diverge because basically the flying ducks which are present over here, they might fly and reach up to these particular species, and in that case they might get genes from these particular ones. So the ones which can actually fly, these ones cannot reach over here, but the purple ones can definitely reach to the red ones. And if interbreeding take place, in case that will be crossbreeding, because now they have actually developed into different species, but still there is a little bit probability that crossbreeding might take place, and in that case they might also slowly develop into a flying particular species. Okay, but basically they will definitely have a reproductive isolation, the purple ones and this ones, but certain evolutionary changes within these species might also develop certain characteristics in them which can help them to fly someday. Okay, there might be different characteristics or features that might develop in them, and which can actually diverge into flying species in future. So that might depend on the evolutionary process, how the evolution goes in this particular species. So students, that is all for this session, and I hope it was clear to all of you, okay, this particular chapter. So bye bye for now, and let's meet for the next session.